very much, and for your generous introduction, and for giving me the opportunity. I think these kinds of opportunities, these kinds of forums are what young people or anyone who's starting a business needs to get ideas and to actually get the courage to actually come out and do what they aspire to do. So to say a little bit about me, as many of you here know me, my name is Sishu. My formal name is Selamawit. So I prefer to use both names, Selamawit, Sishu, Deneke. So selfish. I was born and raised here. I went to Nazareth school, graduate school, and then I went to university, studied political science, which really I'm doing nothing with. Before I started this business, I was working at different NGOs for about 6 years, and it was mostly on communications, on peer-to-peer health education. That's what I used to mainly work on, until at one point it wasn't going anywhere. I felt everything that we did was on paper and not going anywhere. So I was lucky to meet my business partner, who had moved from the States almost 10 years ago, and he'd moved with the intention of doing something, but not really knowing exactly what he wanted to do. So we met and we started to talk about what can we do, the things we like, what we didn't like about the city. We'd often go to coffee shops because it's interesting how it's changed now. There were a lot of coffee shops you would go to, and not places where you could just actually get a very relaxed atmosphere where you can sit and chat. It's usually rowdy, crowded, noisy. So we have two different personalities. He has an IT background, so he prefers to actually stay on his laptop and do a lot of research. So he prefers to go places where it's quieter. I'm more outgoing. So what is it that he felt that was missing at the time, and I agreed, was that during the day, all you have a choice to go to between restaurants or coffee shops. At night, it's clubs. There has to be something else for people that didn't really enjoy going to those places. So he's one of them. I do enjoy going out. I'm more outgoing. So anyhow, it started with that, and we started to narrow it down to what we can do. So really, food was never something that I thought about, because I love to eat, but I don't enjoy cooking. But he did. He cooked. He's a very good cook. And we'd often go to places and we'd complain about the service, for instance, how there has to be something that can be done to improve quality of service, customer service. And with that, it was just starting to take shape. So if we went into doing food, what can we do? I was going to refrain from saying this, but we picked burgers not because we both like burgers. We picked it because of the ingredients and how easily we can actually get those ingredients, and how, if we were to develop a recipe that in its simplest form, that we could train people so that they can actually easily replicate it. and we went with that. So get the best meat, flour you get readily, and we tweaked a little bit with the sauce to just, throw a little flavor. And the rest of it's just really easy, but not quite if you're doing it at a volume. So anyhow, so that came about what we wanted to do, and then to create an atmosphere that we felt people would appreciate. And so we first opened our shop in 2009. It was behind the National Theater. It's a beautiful old house. I'm not sure how many people have been there. It's quite cozy. It reminds me a lot about my childhood in a way, because some of the elements that we threw in eventually to enhance the dining experience was how the tables were set out, the furniture, and then some of the board games we had, so that people could actually come not just to eat, but to have a good time connecting, talking. So we started with that, and maybe you can ask me more questions.
So we know it now as, I guess, the big warehouse and amazing space, amazing atmosphere. It would be interesting to know what led you to move from there to there. And then on top of that, you mentioned something really interesting around seeing an opportunity, seeing there was something lacking, and you decided to create something. And I often think the best businesses are created that way. But usually people wouldn't label themselves an entrepreneur or a business starter. And so, did you see yourself as an entrepreneur before going into that, or was it just you saw the opportunity and went that direction? So, convoluted number of questions there, but I'll leave it to you.
To start off with the first question, how we ended up in Canada, it was I consider it as a blessing in disguise. At the time, it didn't feel that way because we were kicked out from our old shop because they were demolishing it to redevelop the entire area. So that was unfortunate for us, and financially it hurt us because we'd only been in business for 2 years, so we weren't able to recoup all of our investment. So we were hurting at the time when we moved. So moving was not at all easy, and so we found this location, and I don't think I've ever seen myself as an entrepreneur, but I've always felt that it was something I can do. And one of the best decisions I did in actually doing that was to find my partner. So I think it's better, in fact, if you decide, and especially in the hospitality industry, that you pick a partner or partners, because it's a quite difficult field. I don't have any background in cooking, but I can say that I have the knack to work closely with people. I think I'm more sociable and outgoing, and I understand how it works, like the hospitality in terms of, like, it's like throwing a party every day at your house and then trying to make them feel comfortable and for them to want to do that. It's kind of hard. Like, throwing a party every day is not fun, but it's enjoyable. I've always wanted to do something that catered around giving people I would put it this way, at a restaurant, if I were to go by myself, then I would think that, provided that it's cozy enough, it's comfortable enough, then I won't be bothered by anyone, and that's fine. But if I were to go with a friend of mine, I would love to actually do something more than just talking. I grew up in a family where we spent less time alone. We were doing something. It's either woodwork, like making furniture, or helping my dad, not building it, but then doing something, and then trying to make something, or play board games or jigsaw puzzles. And I feel like that's important. So that my business partner comes in and we both didn't really know how to run a restaurant, but we were willing to learn, and we learned a lot, and we were able to learn a lot from it. And also, we've failed in some areas, which is, again, something that everyone should be open to. So no, I've never actually imagined to own a business, let alone a restaurant with me. But it's an interesting challenge because I think I've grown personally I've grown a lot. It teaches you patience. Due to lack of resources, you're actually forced to use your creativity, which is awesome. You meet a lot of people. It's good in terms of networking. And you're actually, so one of the things that I'm really proud of is that we employ 47 employees, and we don't think that there's a available skill set. We don't depend on that. So we take them in knowing that if they have the willingness that they actually can learn and do almost anything. And I'm proud of that. And the fact that I can actually be involved in teaching someone and then employing someone, and then for them to learn, and then for them to have some skills, really, is to have them, to see that impact at a social level is something that I feel very proud of.
It's something I've really noticed with Sishu is the retention rate. Going there, and so often, not just in Ethiopia but around the world, you'll go to a place and you don't expect the same people there in a year's time or 2 years' time. And that's something that has really struck me is the ability to retain staff. And as you say, I wasn't sure what the numbers were of how many people were there, but it's a sizable number of people when you go in there just working away in that kitchen. And it's really impressive. And so I'd love you to touch on that, of what it takes in a challenging environment like Ethiopia to build a business where people remain, they're loyal, and they're committed to growing with you.
In a culture where there's, I'm sure a lot of you are aware in your households, there's this class structure where there's the employer and the employee. So there's definitely that mistrust between the two. So it was an interesting challenge to actually bridge that gap. What's important is not for you, the employer, to trust them, it's for them to trust you. So, and I learned that from my partner. He's very wise in ways, and he approaches people, and he's got a good sense of judging character. So we believe that we need to invest in our employees, and investing meaning giving them the opportunity to learn and to actually make them feel part of the process, like the building process. We've had staff that have been with us since day one, and I know they care as much as I care about business. So that definitely takes time. So you need to be patient again, because you wouldn't imagine if you have a child, you wouldn't give up on that child. But if you adopt another child, are you willing to give that kid the same amount of time? Are you going to be patient with that child just as much as you would with your own? So we treat it that way. I feel like you have to give people the opportunity. I'm not saying wait forever, but there are ways in which you can gauge if they're actually coping, if they actually get it, if they're actually vested in the business. And then of course there's a financial motivation. We're trying to pay our staff double what they would make if they were to work somewhere else. We do value their inputs, so whenever we're actually developing a recipe, it almost goes around from the guards to the cleaners. So it's very important to make them feel part of the whole process.